Hey, welcome to Comics Covered, episode number 9. Hope everyone had a great week. You're with John, CEO of Cover Price, Matt C, CEO of Cover Price, and Gerlando from Black Crown Comics.
There you go. What's going on, man? Hey, you said it well. Look at you. Appreciate that.
I was like,
who's quickly becoming one of our go-to. Who's quickly becoming one of our go-to guys? You know.
For
yeah,
sure.
I appreciate that.
We're really grateful to have you on.
Yeah, I was always not going to be on, which is why we're like getting some coverage here. So
if you see
could have just been John
come down Matt's face, it's literally because he ran, and he's known for running. So.
I was also at the beach, so I have a little bit. I'm instead of white, just a little less white.
You mean like red?
Yeah, pretty much red, pink, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. So today we have an interesting show, but before we get going, I'm not sure if everyone in the comic community heard, but Matt, I'll turn it over to you to talk about TiVo.
Yeah, we lost TiVo. Like literally, he did the top 10 show and wasn't feeling good during the show, and after they're like go to the doctors, and I don't know what transpired during the rest of the night. But I just know he passed away that evening. So, it's just one of those things where it just blindsides you, And TiVo was not just a partner, but he was a good friend. We were always chatting about content. We were always talking about films and TV shows and where we thought things were going to go. And did you hear this? Did you hear that? We were always talking about just constantly going back and forth. And, he was one of our family members. He would come to our like Christmas parties, and we'd meet up with them during conventions, and so
it was crazy because he always was taller than he looked. I was always kind of surprised because he was a tall guy, but he came to some of our Christmas parties, and it was funny because we would do little giveaways. We do like team not scavenger hunt stuff, but like just questions, like comment questions for fun.
Trivia night. Yeah, we did trivia night.
And every single time TiVo came on, his team won because he just carried it and just was like, "Oh yeah." We're like,
he knew
stop
everything.
It.
Yeah,
he
knew everything. I mean, so one thing we'll get into, we won't focus too much on, because what we're going to do is a nice tribute show to TiVo on their channel Sunday night, and I'll drop it into the chat right here. It's Sunday. I don't know if we can put it up on the main text, but probably not.
Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific time on their channel, or is it on?
Yeah, and here I'll jump. I have the link somewhere here to their channel.
Yeah.
Here it is. I got it.
But what is
save it, mark it, make sure you're on there. Everyone that he's ever interacted with. If you don't know, he's been around for this in 2025. I think in March 2025. It was going to be 10 years for the Lords of the Long Box,
wow.
Which is kind of crazy, as far back as you can imagine. That's pretty. Go back to like, what was that, 2015, 2014, long before COVID, really right when like speculation was kind of moving Marvel stuff, and he was kind of really at the forefront of it all. So it's. Their channel got actually taken down for some copyright issues with I don't know exactly, but like they're like halfway through they had a lot of followers, and he lost it all and had to start from scratch, which is when they met up with us to help them rebuild the channel, and then that was 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
But,
when you told me, I was actually gone all last week. And on a little vacation, and Matt told me, and it hit like a ton of like, it was just insane. I'm still kind of in shock, to be honest, of like how sudden and how fast. I can't believe he did the show and was just like oh, I'll fight through it. It's fine. It's like, it's just
it's massive.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go for it. No, go for it. Sorry.
I was going to say quickly, like, I obviously wasn't as close as either of you were to him, but as somebody who, makes comic content, especially covering market stuff, right? Like TiVo was one of Lords of the Long Box is like one of the first channels that I ever watched covering market stuff. And in fact, sorry to say this, John and Matt, it's thanks to TiVo I knew about Cover Price. So, it was very shocking, especially he paved the way within the community. So like,
Yeah.
wake up to that news, I was like, what just happened? You know?
Oh, I was, and we'll get into the show in a second because we'll save all. There's so much we're going to do on the tribute. Everyone who's ever, kind of, was part of the show is going to be on that show, which is great. But like it's just overwhelming to kind of see on social media everyone sharing his picture. Like if my feed is just full of it, of just everyone sharing, and that's really awesome to see. I really really love that. And even like Gem Mint said like he got his start from Lords of the Lumbox, which is like and Gem Mint is such a big name now in the comic book world. So it's like in the influencer YouTube market. So it's just cool. It's awesome. Yeah. But we're gonna really get into that show on Sunday. So join us for that. Yeah.
So it's hard to move off of a really horrible subject like that into something a little more lighter. But
no, he loved this stuff more than anything. So
exactly.
this is what he would love to hear. My comment was like he would be so pissed that he missed out on Deadpool 2. Deadpool 3 is so close. He would have really been. He's probably pissed wherever.
So today you have a good giveaway for those of you guys who are joining us. Matt, do you want to talk about do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I mean these. Jenny Frieson has done a lot of Something's Killing the Children covers, but like this is an awesome one. They really are gorgeous in person. After I looked them up, I didn't realize that the foil goes for more than I thought. It was like I should just give one away, but we're doing both, and they're probably it's about $100 giveaway here. A little bit more, and these are pretty nice copies. So like these are gorgeous Frieson covers. I mean, it's really perfect for Something's Killing the Children. There's not much else to say about other than that. If you're a Frieson fan, if you're Something's Killing the Children fan,
Yeah.
And how many people do we have currently watching right now?
That'll
be.
I can never tell.
Hold on. So we've got 20 people watching, and now we got to get the hashtag rolling.
Yeah. So your odds are very, very good.
Yeah. Very good.
And that's the thing. I guess that's why people don't want to share this with people because the odds are they keep their odds nice and low.
Nice.
Anywho. All right. We'll get in,
Well, we can jump into taking a look at some of the updates. I know you kind of walked through them last week, but did you want to go through the shaker list again? Which, by the way, I think is an insane update to the site that really just kind of brings everything to the surface.
Yeah. If I'll share my screen for a second here. Share screen. Don't share these tips again. Yeah, I was a little rough without you, John, last week, as everyone got to see.
You need a co-pilot.
Stumbling things. So what people seem to enjoy, we were asking folks to report back, and they enjoyed going through the shakers, even though we were showing it as like, hey, you could do this on your own. It was kind of fun just to talk through things and just see what was in there, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't cover on in our shaker report, and it could be fun just to go through it. It was one thing that I loved TiVo to do, like at the end of the Shaker show on Thursdays. So it's kind of fun.
He kind of coined that. He was the one who went through the Shaker list. But now,
at the end of the show, they would just scroll through and see, like, let's see what's shaking today. It's kind of,
Jeez,
so
my light just fell. So maybe TiVo moved it because
maybe
crap. That was creepy.
He doesn't want us to go through this. Last Mermaid does smell different. Made in Canada. See, thank you, Treasury. Let's see. Can I share that comment? Yeah, there you go. So, the last week comment. My daughter keeps complaining about the smell of Last Mermaid, and it's not like a bad. Well, it's a strong.
Would you say it's a fishy smell?
Yeah,
I felt you were going there, and I didn't want to go there. But
mermaids are fishy. What do you mean?
Yeah. No, it does not have a fishy smell. It's a heavy ink smell. It's some type of strong chemical ink. It's hard to it doesn't smell like anything else. I can't anyway. Anywho, so just going through show. I'm not an expert on Golden Age, so you'll find myself breezing through this stuff. But if anyone sees something that you want to cover, we'll jump into it.
Can you show the filters? Because the one thing I love that we did was you can now go through and look by era. So if you're not
that's what we showed last week, and I was just going to go through them all. I mean, my go-to stuff is pretty much copper and modern and bronze for the most part too, just because that tends to be what I collect.
Nintendo Power, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, so you'll notice that for people who do follow our site and put things in our site, there is we do track a good chunk of magazines, including Sports Illustrated, High Times, Nintendo Power, like a pretty weird collection of magazines. And it's stuff that crosses over in the collector's world. Like there used to be when I would go digging, if I saw Playboys, it usually meant there were comic books there. And I would walk up, I'd see like a stack of Playboys. They're like, hey, do you have comics? They're like, I have it in the trunk. How did you know I had comics? I'm like, it just goes together. It's like if there's Playboys, there's comics, and it's like, test it out. Like the next time you just see a stack of Playboys, ask if they have comics nearby. It's almost proven. If it's wrong, let me know. But yeah, Nintendo Power is fascinating because this literally it didn't sell for anything about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the value of it has just gone through. Like a 9.8 last year sold for $108,000.
That's nuts.
$108,000
for a magazine.
Well, I mean, so this was really the beginning of I know this is Super Mario 2, but this is like childhood memories here. I know for me, there was nothing I was more excited about getting than Nintendo Power and Wizard. Like there was a time when I was getting both of those things, every month, and it was just awesome, like getting both of these things and seeing what games were being shown off and some tips and tricks. And we had our warehouse music, and we could go rent the games and try out. Even if I didn't want to own them. The warehouse music would do like 99 cents rentals for the weekend. Yeah.
Jolanda, did you ever collect this? Or did you subscribe to this? Nintendo Power?
No, I wish I did. But what I used to do, because, I would go eat at my grandma's every Sunday, and there was a corner store right next to it, and they would always have Nintendo magazines, right? Nintendo Power and stuff like that. We would buy them, my brother and I, but we mistreated these things so bad because we loved it, right?
Infamous Chef has a good point. He said he's been jumping on the magazine trend. Overall, magazines are taking off in a big way. Very under the radar because some of the stuff is incredibly hard to find and then incredibly hard to find in high quality. I mean, I don't know if you guys are Better Homes and Gardens fans, but who wouldn't want the first issue of Better Homes and Gardens?
I might pass on that one, but I did come across a friend of mine who hit me up because I was covering. It was a Nintendo Power sale. It was the Mario Kart one that made your list, and he watched my show and he's like, "Jolando, I have a ton of them," and he sends me a photo, as you can see here, he's full of magazines, and I'm like, listen, buddy, we need to talk, right? If you don't want them, let me know. But, Nintendo Power, iconic covers. There's even WWF ones, right? There's the video game scene in that time, especially Super Nintendo, Sega, and stuff like that. It hits us in the nostalgia, right? It's pure nostalgia trip.
Matt, before you search for that, go back. Yeah. Go back real quick.
Yeah, I'm just going to click on this real quick. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you go back and click on Nintendo Power, go to the comic detail page, click on Nintendo Power at the very top of the page where it says Nintendo Power. That'll take you to the series page if you want to look at all the covers. Yeah. So a little Easter egg for cover price people.
So good.
All right. Pop quiz. Jolando. Jolando. Number 6. Who is this? What is this a key of?
Pop it open. Sorry, I don't even see it.
Oh, you can't see it?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna hide it. Oh wait, I can't hide it. Dang it!
Oh no!
This is the first appearance of first J. Scott Campbell published amateur art.
Yeah, it's right there.
So I know.
I knew that. I knew that.
But what's cool about it is
Turtles, did he? The Turtles were in him.
No. So inside there was a couple issues before there was a contest where you can submit a video game, whatever your creation is. So you had to design the characters, a full description of the game, and his selection won. And it was called, I think, Lockjaw or something like that. And so I had a picture of him of a young Jeffrey Scott Campbell. And it had him next to all his drawings and stuff that he submitted, and this is his first published work.
That's cool.
It always amazes me that, like, within our lifetime, not only from a comic book standpoint, but like artists and like music artists and stuff, they're now getting older. They're all at that same, but they all had that start, and so we were around all that same age when all this stuff was kind of coming out, and like we had that at that age, and we're like, oh my god, it's in. So it's crazy to me that all that stuff is so accessible now.
Imagine when Shonen Jump pops. Shonen Jump is popping already. I mean, see here, this is the fun. We're going into rabbit holes.
I love
Shonen Jump is so we don't have everything because Shonen Jump is crazy. There's weekly Shonen Jump, and then there's weekly magazine Shonen Jump. There's all the iterations of it.
The first one.
Yeah, well, Shonen Jump and Weekly Shonen Jump is where some of the big keys are. So like, I mean, we're missing a lot of images here, but yeah, this is 550 and a 9.8.
Whoa,
man.
What this has, so we only have just this issue because of it's too hard to find all the images, but we got to get all the rest in. But we have this one because it's the first appearance of One Piece.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that is a nice $900 raw book. And this was printed in the millions. But yes, this is super valuable because it's the first appearance of One Piece ever. And then this is the first appearance of Dragon Ball ever. So, you have, this is $1,300 raw. So like these are popping right now.
We should show that to one of our content managers, Chaz, who loves Dragon Ball.
Even the weekly magazine Shonen Jump, you can technically, so we don't have everything here, but this one was My Hero Academia, I believe. Yeah, first appearance of My Hero Academia, which is still pretty affordable. I think 159 was the height for this one, but this is a good one too. This is a good one to hunt for right now. And then the English version, you have the English translation of the mangas, and then for a standard comic is the Free Comic Book Day with One Punch Man and My Hero on the other side. A double keep. Yeah. I'll settle with my Free Comic Book Day. Yeah, no, the Free Comic Book Day is also let's see, One Punch. Not Water Punch. I think One Punch Man. Yeah, this is the manga. And then here is the Free Comic Book Day with My Hero Academia. 9.9 just sold for $2,500, which we covered last week.
Yeah, it was on
9.8. Yeah, it was on the Shakers. Yeah. And then $250 and a 9.8, but $70 raw. It's a hard book to find near mint because all these Free Comic Book Days tend to be. But yeah,
that's crazy. You want to go back to the Shaker list?
Yeah, and this. Oh, I was going to say. So, what you were saying, Trelando, is that a buddy said, "Hey, do you want all my Nintendo Powers?" I said yes, and I haven't picked them up yet. But he also said, "I'm like, I have these fan club magazines in there too." So he has this one in there. Very first one. Yeah, it's like I told him, like, that's like worth $1,000, or he's like, yeah, it's fine.
Now, Matt, that's what I was gonna ask: is what kind of a friend are you here? Because are you gonna tell him the truth behind these values?
No. So what it started with, I was like, oh, I have these Nintendo Powers. Are they worth anything? I was like, yes. The first issue he had 2 copies of it, but they're both very crusty. Like they were probably a 1.0, 2.0, and a 3.0. I was like, in that condition, probably $100, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't see what the condition was of that stuff, but then he showed me this later that he had the fan club newsletters in there. I was like,
Crazy.
what I was surprised, one of the surprises this week was this Miss Marvel variant for issue 2, Miss Marvel issue 2, the Melina 1 in 50. If you guys have been collecting since 2014, this was a very expensive comic in 2016, 2017.
Yep.
Like this was probably $800-900 raw, and then it was usually $1,500 plus in a 9.8. And after the show came out, when people kind of gave up on the character a little bit, you know, this book just tanked in value. I mean, all Kamala books were falling hard. Yeah. And I think a 9.8, there was one that was like this 988 was probably the lowest we had seen it. But now it's been going back up like 1,100, 1,300. Mm-hmm. I think where I was seeing the price discrepancies were raws, because like near mints used to go for $600 and they were going for about $375, $300.
So why do you think? Why do you guys think a character like this that was hot and usually it just starts tanking and that's kind of it? Why do you think she's coming back?
Well, I mean, this is a very hard cover to find. It is one of the more iconic photos of her. I know there's a lot of merchandise that has used this image. Mm-hmm. And despite how your feelings of the comic version or the content version, people are still in love with the comic book version, you know. Yeah. And that fan base hasn't gone away. If anything, it's grown. And you know, hopefully, you know, we'll see the evolution of the content version. Yeah, people reading. Yeah, good point. I'll share that comment. Treasury said people reading the new volume. They're probably picking up the trades. You know, she's a fun character. I don't know if the show doesn't really, even though the actress does a very good job. I forget, I'm blanking on her name. She does a very good job of capturing the fanboy spirit of the character.
Yeah.
It's still, she's kind of just a goofy, fun character, but very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Have you seen this cover before?
I have seen the cover before, never in front of me, that's for sure, because as you said, it's one of those that are a little more tough to come around. But talking about the actual character, one thing that has happened within comics, especially after that very short, you know, passing of Kamala and she came right back, we could see obviously they're lining her up now in comics to tie into where they're going within the MCU, right? Like the whole mutant stuff. So I agree with you. I mean, look, Kamala has never been one of my go-to characters, and this particular run, I sold the first 8 issues plus her first appearance for $600 Canadian raw, and I bought myself a New Mutants 98. So that's all I'm going to say.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, that's where I put my confidence. But again, beautiful cover. There's a lot of awesome Miss Marvel covers. Like even if you go back to this current run, there's a lot of nice ones. Even just
and this was the first meeting of Kamala and Carol Danvers, which is kind of a fun key. You know, it's there's some good stuff in there. Oh, I forgot. I messed up my. See, this is the one thing we got to work on.
You can just click on the series, the title, and it'll take you to the series page if you want to see all the covers.
No, I wanted to go back to.
Okay.
I just lost my filters.
Right. But the 2014 time within the comics, you saw the later prints how they always change the color of the label.
Yeah, right.
There was so many of those. Yeah.
I'm closing down windows here. You can watch me do it. All right. What was also interesting was this. This is a fairly rare book. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, your instincts will be like, "What a crappy cover," right? Yeah. Because, but if you know the history behind it and why it's quote crappy. So Jason Pollan was a notable artist in New York. He was just a regular dude who would go to the random places in New York.
Yeah.
And his goal was just to draw as many people and things as he could all day long. He just did that every day. and he is one of the artists with the most sketches ever, or something like that. And he just had these books and books and books of. He's a quick draw artist, so his goal was to draw every single person that he saw that passed by. And so he kind of brought that kinetic energy to this issue when Marvel came to him to do this partnership with Uniqlo, which was a clothing store. So what you had to do was purchase $50 worth of this collab of Marvel and Uniqlo clothing that was also Jason Poland. So it was Poland, Marvel, Uniqlo. You would get this free comic book if you spent $50 or more. Which it wasn't hard because like a sweater was $50.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. So like, but how many people ordered the stuff and kept the stuff? Because this was technically, I wouldn't say a high brand, but it was not like a Gap or Old Navy. It was hurts your eyes if you look at it too long.
I'm getting dizzy.
But I love how it looks like he kind of gives up at one point. Like at the top of it, there's just like scribbles. It looks like scribbles. Apart, right?
I mean, but that is the question. Like, would you pay $2,000 for this raw and for a VF copy?
I mean,
go ahead, John.
Well, I was just gonna say, if it's like a piece of Americana, if it's like so rare, it transcends comic collecting. It's more of like an art piece at that point, Yeah. So maybe
he only did 2 covers.
Oh,
I can't remember. The other cover was an A cover. I'm blanking on. It was another Spider-Man issue. I'm blanking on which one it was. But he did. This was the only one that was a variant. I believe. The other one may have been a variant.
And Orlando, I cut you off though. Sorry, man.
No, John, you said exactly what I was going to say. Is at that point it kind of becomes that it's the art piece, right? It's like, okay, the story behind this comic and so forth, and of course everything you just said, Matt, regarding his style of drawing and so forth. Of course, would I spend that money personally? No, on this. There's way other books, but to who this might interest, I can understand.
So I believe it was. I forget what issue was. It was a Spawn 300 that had during COVID. It was supposed to come out at a gaming convention, and the convention was canceled. And then the book was considered, scrapped and gone to the wayside. And then there were some copies leaking, and they were selling for thousands of dollars. And then a year ago, some dude was like, "Oh yeah, I have most of them," and was just like throwing them out like every single day, listing one after another, and it just tanked the value. Granted, it was still a $300-400 book at the end of the day, but the fear is on this stuff that someone, because they know that these books were printed in a larger quantity to fulfill to go with these orders, the question is, where did those copies go? Did they get thrown away? Did some employee take them home with them? Are they sitting in a warehouse at Uniqlo somewhere? Like,
I don't know.
You never know. That's the mystery. Like one day someone could be like, "Oh, I have like 1,000 of these," and we could do the same thing. That's my only concern about that.
Yeah. It sounds like the Spawn NetherRealm story, right? If that were to happen, and you remember that one?
Yeah,
painfully.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've worked on like marketing campaigns before, and whenever you bring in, like, we did something with American Outfitters or something way back when I was working at agency. Those people don't value the thing that you're promoting. It's just a campaign a lot of times, So I would guess that a lot of that stuff is gone, or someone has it and they just don't know it's worth anything.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone tossed them. Like at the end of the day, they're like, because I worked for a company that had a lot of comic books. Like, I'll say, just I worked for Mattel for a short time, and they had a bunch of Masters of the Universe and some rare stuff, and there was just a stack of them sitting in a closet that it was just a storage closet, and a stack of these books were just sitting there. It was like one of the toy variants, right?
But
that was all they had was just that stack. And
how many did you put into your jacket, Matt?
Yeah,
you walked out that day.
They gave me the whole stack.
So Matt,
but what I did was I gave it at the time we were part of CBSI, and I just gave one to everyone in our chat. So I mailed out everyone a copy of that book. Yeah. So it's just like I have one copy, and it stays in my collection. So I ended up giving all of those away, just for fun, you know.
Yeah. On next week's Shakers list, guys.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
I know. No, I'm a toy. Like I love the action figure covers. So no, it's a hard PC book for me. So it's never going anywhere. Back to the list. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things on this list. I know this World of Wood has been trending for a while. What 950 and a 9.8 this week. That's a Dave Stevens cover, which I mean, people are obviously loving the title.
Apparently,
right? I mean, it is quite a cover.
Is the main character Wood, or is that a?
I don't know if anyone has read this. Raise your hand, but for the most part, I don't know anyone who's actually read it. It's just a highly sought after Dave Stevens cover. It's one of the more pricier ones. $9.50.
Trudgery, that book, that NYX on the Shaker list, that's what started cover price. Right there. Yeah, Matt came over one day and was like, "Hey, that's worth like $1,000." And we had a conversation. We're like, "What? How could I know?" You know, and that literally was the comic that got us, because I have that one. I just love the art so much. That's in Middleton, right? And it was just
so. And this is an argument. Sorry, keep going, John. I'm going to break up your story here. Go for it.
No, that's pretty much it. Just it was funny that I love that cover so much because it literally was the one that made us kind of realize, like, hey, people don't know what their comics are worth. There's something in your collection. But
now a lot of people love this cover, but I love this one more.
Yeah, this is great, but it's so much cheaper.
Yeah,
so much cheaper.
Yeah, no, $36. But it did hit last year $660, but it's $225 right now. Is the current fair market value.
It's a better depiction of the character, obviously, right? You got the claws, you got the whole thing, like, you know. It's funny because they really positioned her in the beginning as like this like sex worker / kind of like confused whatever, you know. So it was a weird kind of transition to finding out she was the Wolverine's clone,
But man, if this would have been the cover, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from NYX3 because people absolutely do love that cover. I'm just saying I would have loved if this was the cover 2, 3. And then it could have swapped. The 3 could have been the cover for 4, and that could have been the second appearance cover. But that's just me. My all-time favorite cover. So I'm a Campbell fan. I do love his stuff.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite cover of his.
Really? Of all time?
Yeah. Of probably of all of J. Scott Campbell's. He is to me the definitive Black Cat artist. Like, I mean, there's a reason why he draws her so much is because people recognize that. Whether he's done it too much, that's another conversation. But I love the ball of yarn. I love the jewel. Like, he just did a really good job. It's just not his typical pose, you know. It's just such a great cover. I just love the ball of yarn, the little spider.
Is the yarn spelling out something at the bottom?
Yep.
It looks like the yarn is spelling something, maybe, no?
It looks like love.
So yeah, that's kind of like love.
Yep.
One of my favorite things was when, you know, she was always in love with Spider-Man, right? And when he took off his mask to like kiss her, like, you know, she threw up because she was so disappointed in the face of Peter Parker. I did really enjoy that story.
This cover's been homaged a lot, right? I mean, there's one with, isn't Mary Jane holding a ball of yarn or something?
There's a lot of versions of it. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of versions of it. I mean, this Grenave is no slouch either down here. Grenave is pretty darn good. I don't like. One of my pet peeves is spelling comics with an X. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
This Gen 13, this Bruce Timm cover is really spiking in value lately. I mean,
we had a call out for the Carrie Pop-Tart. Matt, the cherry.
Is there a
pop
cherry
top?
on there?
That's what someone called out. I think. I thought I saw it.
Yeah, cherry pop.
Do we have a cherry? Maybe I scrolled past.
Maybe.
I think it was within conversation, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
the did that Malibu Sun sell? Is it a sale? I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of Spawn preview books, but this was technically the first cover appearance.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may have been the first preview. There's a sneaky book. I have it around here somewhere. But there's another preview. There's a lot of books have preview images of Spawn in it. I think Rust #1. There's also a Robotech issue with a pretty great cover that has a big ad for Spawn inside. But I mean, this is the Error edition, which is
that's the one,
which is pretty cool. I don't think we have it on here, but like a green. Basically, it was misprinted, so the back has like a green cover. You can't see it on here. But,
yeah, I saw my my buddy 99 Newsstand hit a nice grade on this one. Yeah, I think he has a 9.8. So,
oof.
Yep.
Yeah, here we'll share your comment there, and we'll also throw up our banner. Let's see. Do we not have it? Yeah, here we go. Subscribe to Mike.
Yeah, it always helps the channel, guys. We're growing this part of the business a little bit more, and we like talking about this. We like sharing it, and the more it grows, the more cool stuff we can do. We have some big plans, as it continues to grow. But we just enjoy doing it.
One book that I like. One book that I saw that I liked. So I don't know if any of you old timers or from the late 70s or early 80s gamers are in here, but Lady Death does a lot of great homage covers, whether you follow the character or like the character. But I really dig this cover. And sorry, my computer's still slow. But it's a homage to the old Atari boxes.
Oh, that's cool.
The old Atari. And I really like that homage. I don't think this is a crazy 360 for a 10.0. It's not, it's not going to break your bank. There's a
for a
version
10.0 for what? Sorry,
yeah,
what was
10.0
360?
10.0 for 360.
How can it be a 10.0?
So one thing to know about Coffin Comics, what they print these books on are very great paper quality, so that you do get a lot of high grade great copies out of these. They take care of them really well. They ship them really well. Coffin Comics does a pretty good job at managing their stuff. And here's the blue version.
Yeah,
that was I did enjoy seeing that. There was a barrage of Manar covers that sold this week.
Yeah. There's a lot of books that we've seen pretty often here, familiar books, but that one there is one that's on my list. I swear to God, guys, that Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, this book has really grown in price too, because so the rule of thumb is whatever was popular 30, 40 years ago is trending now.
Yeah.
So pretty much what was popular 30, 40 years ago is now people are picking this stuff up. And Earthworm Jim was classic Super Nintendo. Like, if you were a Super Nintendo fan, Earthworm Jim was just like, if you would have pitched that game today, like people would just be like, "You're
nuts.
You're effing crazy. You're nuts. Get out of here." The fact Earthworm to be a superhero is such a silly concept.
Right. I love that move in the video game where he pulls himself out and uses his own body as a whip.
Yeah, he uses his.
And he swings with it, right?
Yeah.
This was the newsstand 9.6 for 280, but yeah, it's a fun book to find.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I honestly I've only seen one guy ever pick it up. I've never come across this in person either. It's one of those books that I just never see.
What's that Supergirl on the far left?
So I'm a huge. Which one? This one?
Yeah, the Supergirl. Yeah.
Let me close the windows here. Here we go. So this is the first animated appearance of Supergirl, which is fun. And
Yeah.
what's also fun is that this mirrors. Oh man, let's look for it. I think it's Superman Adventures 21. Yeah,
I mean, the art from the animated series and all that.
Wait, did I hit search? Nope. I shouldn't. Sorry, my computer's. Oh, this was Superman Adventures. Duh. Okay.
You found it.
If anyone remembers, this is great content. Yeah, I found it. Okay, what if you guys remember? There's a Batgirl mirrored version of this.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Batman Adventures? Is it Batman Adventures 16? We're gonna spend the rest of the show, guys. So if no one helps me out, this is the rest of the show here. It's just me.
We're gonna stay here the whole time.
Right.
I'm not surprised though that 30 has an homage coming.
Well, hey, Chris says that 30 has a homage of that one.
Oh, he does. He has one coming out. That's fun.
Oh.
Okay, I gotta do a search. I don't know. I can't remember what. I can't remember. Anywho, there's basically the same thing, but it's a Batgirl by Bruce Timm, in the same pose, but reflected. So they go fantastic together. They're real. I mean, this is one of my top books that I've wanted for a while. And it's not that crazy. It's last sale was $280 and $70. It's really expensive raw. It's hard to find a high grade copy at that. And
so they do saving day maybe.
Batgirl Adventures 1. That sounds right.
No.
Let's see.
Left arrows? Come on.
Thank you for the help, Left Arrows. World's Finest next issue cover B. Is that the Zerdsy?
Zerdy.
Okay. Sorry, my internet is. This is what we dealt with last week, John. Was that it was painfully slow. You can see it.
What is going on? Matt lives in a cave.
Yeah.
You need some Starlink or something.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
When it loads.
No, I don't know why. It's like everything is connected. It's just for here you go. It's just for some reason my internet. Okay, so there's that, and then there's that. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, together that looks awesome.
That is cool. It's like that.
I'll do it 10 more times. But no, I love this set. It's one of my favorite sets out there. And this is a little bit cheaper, $45 for a Nearman copy, $260. So they're about the same price in a 9.8 right now. But if you guys have one, I will gladly purchase one from you. This is a book, Art Adams, love him, hate him, I don't know how you guys feel on him, but this is one of his sister covers. So there's this cover, then there's Young Ally 6, which is of Firestar, and then there's New Mutants. I forget what issue. I believe it's New Mutants #1 that has Magic. And then I think there's maybe one more, but the three of those covers are the same similar pose, or at least framing. This is 150 raw. Goes for about $350 for high of 420.
I'd be curious to know what the census is, but the cover itself, the art, Wanda, looking a little different.
Yeah, she's a little thick. She's a little thick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter manipulating powers. So
I did enjoy seeing this book on the list. I kind of want this one. I didn't know it existed until I saw it. But it's the comic book guy. I mean, this is just a standard cover.
That's the regular cover.
Yeah, it's a standard cover, no variant. So it's $350 and 9.8. But it's that was the high. One sold for $178 recently. $37, maybe a little higher for a perfect copy. But yeah, it's a fun
So
homage.
I'm gonna put the giveaway banner up.
Yeah.
So we can start entering.
Go for it.
So if you guys enter something is killing the children hashtag SIKTC, you will be entered to win. So definitely start entering, putting that in the comments. For those whoever wins, you'll email us or find us on Instagram, and we'll send you the prize.
And then last, I wanted to get into one thing that I thought was an interesting conversation. Now that we've looked at all these books, a reminder: if you go to our content page, so we had our Shaker report that went out today, which has a lot of fascinating books on it. I'm always surprised when we're writing this stuff up. Brian did a great job with this card here.
Yeah, I love it.
Brian always does a good job.
This super, like, this was the best image I could find of this book. Now keep in mind that the book does have a tattered to it, but then this book is also a bad version of that tattered book. So I didn't want to like doctor up a photo, so I just used whatever I could find. But
that's funny. I actually thought it was part of the book.
Well, so this is, and this is, and this is. This is not.
Yes, sorry. Okay, gotcha. I love.
Yeah, but this is part of it. But
if you go into the description, I think you call out some of the other homage. You should click on those. Those are really cool to kind of compare. I love it when people homage like movies.
Yeah, I want to get into a few other things, but I'll open them up real quick. So we had
we don't want to tank the internet.
Yeah, we got. I know my internet's already working super hard. Yeah, we got Gen 13.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Incredible She-Hulk.
Yep.
There's a nice variant that goes for this. It's a price variant. The 150 price, the newsstand. That's kind of the one people seek out for that one. An Animaniacs Pulp Fiction homage, although that's not Pulp Fiction.
No,
that's that is Staying Alive.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
But it's crazy how many times that has been homage, the Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. I mean, this was a rare. It was nice to see the Danger Girl Smoking Gun, Platinum. Yeah. I'm a huge Dawn fan, or I should say Leisner fan specifically. His Dawn stuff is amazing. So the Look Sharp edition has always been on my list to find. I've never seen the Look Sharp edition out in the wild. First appearance of professional work is Scotty Young.
Yeah.
Actually, to be more specific, this is the preview to his first professional work. Sorry, Jolanda, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, because I noticed also when you guys were writing, what was behind this purchase, you could see it's I believe Scott Young instead of Scotty.
Yeah, it was Scott, SKOTT is how they present. It said Scott Young cover.
It's always cool to see these artists before they become who we know them as. Like that, like obviously it doesn't look like anything that we're familiar with typically, but they're trying to find.
Yeah, we need to find better images. But yeah, totally, John.
Yeah, when you were talking about the J. Scott Campbell, I was thinking of this, and I was like, "Oh, I think we're going to get to that." So,
that's Scotty Young, that art on that cover you just showed.
Yeah. So at the end of the first issue, they show a cropped version of this in black and white, and it says a variant cover by Scott Young. Next issue, So
doesn't it look like a little bit of a Humberto Ramos? Like maybe there's
it does have to feel.
Yeah, he was definitely channeling some Ramos back then for sure.
Yeah,
which is a smart play. A lot of his early stuff did kind of harken back to that. Heavy Metal. This issue, this is the first full appearance of Tarna, who is this lady on the front. This is probably the most iconic Heavy Metal issue of all Heavy Metal issues. So the fact that this is now starting to trend is kind of it's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I remember the movie when I was a kid. Yeah, the movie itself was, dude, and the cover of the movie is pretty much the same thing, but just that it's like silver.
Yeah,
the movie made me feel funny.
Yeah,
yeah, it was his sexual awakening.
Pretty much.
I learned some.
But what I wanted to get to, so there's a lot of good stuff.
It's awesome.
So I wanted to talk about this Jurassic Park. I know we got like 10 minutes, but so this Jurassic Park Amber Chroma version, this was the first appearance of Jurassic Park in comic book form. This was the special edition. Now, this special gold edition, this Amber Chrome version, was limited to 7,500 copies. Now, today, if you look at a copy, if a book has a special variant of 7,500 copies, you're staying away from that book, right?
Yeah,
There's no way you're going to buy that. Even at 3,000 copies, a lot of people are like, pass, right? Yeah.
Well, exclusives in general nowadays, right?
Right.
Like,
what's your magic number, Jolando? What, like, when it has a print run of X number, what do you look for?
So it depends. First, it depends the book. It really depends the book. I really gotta believe and have faith in it. And look, perfect example. What happened now? Wolverine, that cover by JTC, John Tyler Christopher, is being almost, I guess we could say, redone. So things like that kind of scare me, right? When it comes to the exclusive side of things, I'm always worried. But print runs, obviously, the lesser the better. But I can't say I have a cap off, because even there's some books that have, let's say, a print run of 12,000 that are still heavily sought out after. So
I mean, what's interesting to see what is the print run of 80 for 8 billion G's and have a sell 30 credit cards. So it is important to note that there are the print runs and then there's comp copies on top of the print runs. Usually people don't add those in. So I know firsthand that if it says, a Crane variant, 200 copies with a COA, there's another 50 comp copies on top of that don't have a COA. Because we get those comp copies all, every now and then, and they don't have COAs, so they're not part of that number. So that is something to keep in mind.
What about those that are, like you said, there's comps, damaged that should be technically destroyed or stuff like that. And there's also some of that.
For what I've seen, people tend to be pretty good. So if there's 200 copies and 50 of them are damaged, those copies are usually the last to be sold, and then they're sold kind of as is. And usually at conventions, kind of like, I do see people are pretty good about that. Like I remember Aspen was selling a Turner set, a Supergirl set back. This is in 2017 San Diego Comic-Con, and they're like, 80% of this, what we got was damaged. Like there's very few copies in here that are like near mint. And they're like, we're just selling them as is, but we're telling people like everyone has like a crease in it, So most people are pretty good as that I've come across. If the whole thing is damaged, then they'll usually have to send it back or destroy those copies and then get new ones.
What do you think about Treasury's?
If it's like significantly damaged.
What do you guys think about Treasury's comment that, like, it could have a really low print run of like 5, but there's no transaction, no one knows what it's worth, it doesn't move in the aftermarket.
Yeah.
How low
so there is
low?
Kind of the conversation that I wanted to have here, and that's a spinoff, and we have about 6 minutes. So my point is, this was 1993. 1993. This was probably people at the time paid maybe $10 for this. So I'm guessing, I don't know how much exactly or where you would have bought this in 1993. But 7,500 copies for probably 30 years, it was worthless. But now it's $762 and a 9.8. It just hit this week $995 and a 9.8. So the conversation is here. Time plays a huge factor in anything, and we're in a market that's very impatient with books. Everyone wants to have value immediately. But some of the stuff, and my point is, if a book with 7,500 copies can be a $1,000 book, granted it's the first appearance of a major evergreen brand like Jurassic Park. I mean, so many books have the opportunities to be future crazy valuable books or very rare and pricey books. Now, I don't know what that magic print run number is to qualify for that, but to your point, John, there is a such thing as having too low of a number. If there's only 5, 10 to 50 copies, those dry up into collections incredibly fast, and you never see them come up.
And that's got to be so frustrating when you know you have a really rare book, but no one's heard of it. You're like screaming into a void, going, "No, it's rare! It's rare!"
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I do see on certain exclusives some people doing like those metal foils. There's 10 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those two. I feel a certain way.
I would say that I never touched them, but I just bought one like a week ago.
Do as Matt says, not as he does.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like the cover, and I was like, I'll buy that, you know.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not buying it to resell it, you know. The timing on those is usually pretty like immediate, because what people need are comp sales. People don't know what to spend on it. So like if I want this book and I haven't seen a sale in like ever, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on it. I'm going to want to spend $50 on it, right? Like, because I don't know what it's worth. So for a book to get value and hold value, it needs to have at least relatively steady sales, meaning every couple months there is a sale that pops up, which is why like Young Ally 6 is a book that has been getting significant value, because it's one of those books where it's rare, it's very hard to find, but there are copies out there, and one copy will show up every 6 months, hit a crazy high, and then will disappear for another 6 months. Enough to like build interest and momentum, and people itching to find a copy, wanting to find a copy, and then they dip. So here's the book I was talking about.
Yeah,
but
this is amazing.
I mean, 50 sales. That's a good amount of sales to get this book trending and continuing to trend.
Yeah, and giving it a market value.
It's a 1 in 15. If this was a 1 in 100, forget it. It would be incredibly rare. Now there is Amazing Spider-Man 667. Is that the Delato? Am I right on my numbering?
I believe it's 667. Hold on.
So that book is a 1 in 100, and it is incredibly rare. 667. Yeah. So this book is like, no one was ordering 100 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 2011. They just weren't. And I think we've tracked 26 sales. But the fact is, copies do come up once a year on this. You know.
Yeah, this is a perfect example.
So rather than like constant market trend of like 50 sales at once, even once a year, as long as there's some transactions happening that people
it needs at least a transaction at some point throughout the year, probably twice a year, to keep that price momentum. This is kind of an iconic book now, where people know it's valuable and recognize it as valuable, so it retains value a little more than say other covers. But Legion of Superheroes, what issue is that? That was a book that was Legion of Superheroes 23. Yeah. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. It used to be worth a lot more. Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes. So this is a classic Adam Hughes cover. It used to be worth a lot more, but because people have kind of forgotten about it a little bit, like some of the like new people into the hobby, it's kind of like people who remember it trending in 2017, 2014, I think. I mean, this was a book you could have bought, when it came out for $10, but it's probably Hughes' most iconic cover out of everything.
I actually have a buddy who picked this up at a local shop here for $3.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
he must have been.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
One of those moments where he's shaking at the bin, right? Just like
he's like, please don't price check. Please don't price check.
Yeah. Right.
He buys a bunch of stuff and just puts it in the middle.
Yep.
Now $6.17 for a near mint copy, that's not low, so it's not like people completely forgot about it. So it's still pretty darn valuable. So I'm off on saying that people forgot about it. It surely seems like they haven't.
Yeah.
So we're kind of at the hour, but I just want to put up, if you haven't entered for the giveaway, type in the hashtag SIKTC. We have about 26 entries so far in here. So you guys got really good chances to win about a prize worth about $150, $170, give or take.
Nice.
So definitely enter. And if you've already entered, don't enter again. The system won't count you twice.
Yeah.
Check out the news. Go through and read the market report this week. It's fascinating. Here's the most valuable Ghostbuster book of all the Ghostbuster books.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to me that like this variant is worth more than the first appearance.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Well, it's so iconic though. I mean, it's perfect.
Well, I really love the storyline. So this is Ectotron. So what they did with Ghostbusters was that the Ecto was a dormant transformer, the Ectomobile, and so it was Ectotron was the transformer, and the storyline was fantastic. They really did a good job with that crossover, and making the Ecto a dormant transformer is just like
genius.
You know.
Yeah.
And then they did it. Then they did it with Back to the Future. Like, oh, you like that, huh? Oh, well, the DeLorean's now a transformer too.
Everything's a transformer.
Yeah, they kept going. There's a lot of interesting. Here's the first.
Wait a minute. If the DeLorean's a transformer, that means Transformers can time travel, which means
oh man,
that puts a whole lot of
you're opening a can of worms here, man.
Wait a minute.
Anyhow,
So should we do
there's a lot of good stuff. So check it out.
Any last thoughts before we do the giveaway?
Jolanda, yeah. What do you got?
Last thoughts regarding cover price, because
how did you feel about this week? What were you, did you pick up anything? Was there anything you want to sign off with?
New comic book day wise, there was quite a few good reads. One thing that you guys had on the list was Grommets, that I think snuck by quite a few people. Yeah, I'm looking forward to obviously reading that, because I didn't get a chance to like physically get my copy. But yeah, no, there was the Helverine, right? We saw the spoiler stuff, but the Shaker stuff, that Mario book, again, guys, maybe I'm slightly biased with video game books. Okay, I'm gonna be out there because I have said it a few times, right? I'm pointing out all the video game stuff, but that Mario book's again a ghost that you guys put on the list that I've never come across. So
no, I've never seen it.
Yeah, this is cool. 80s skater punk theme. Hello, Blink-182.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Super cool.
Yep. And
I know Blink's not punk. I get it. Don't come at me, guys.
I read this issue. It is fun. It is interesting, though. They kind of like they didn't lead. I was expecting a cliffhanger, and it kind of like alluded to a cliffhanger, but didn't leave it with a cliffhanger. Yeah. But I did see that there were some fun variants coming up. I think this was a Skater Die homage.
But again, Matt, it's happening. Like this started to peak, not because of any speculation or anything behind this, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just
nothing. Yeah. I mean, people just love new things, and this is a very different story from everything else, and it's got some fun covers.
There's also about nostalgia in it. I mean, nostalgia sells.
Yes. Of course, and I love like this is a particular scene, right? It's the skater scene, right?
Yeah.
So I love that stuff.
Is the cover below there a homage to Dogtown? I don't know.
Dogtown and the Z Boys, probably, maybe.
I do see that.
This was a fun cover. I mean, this just sets the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally.
7-Eleven.
All right, let's do this giveaway then. Here, I'll put this up. So if you haven't entered already, type in, follow everybody else in the comments, and enter. You want to put in this, and we'll do that in a few seconds. You want me to take over sharing the screen, Matt, or do you want to?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yep.
All right.
Gotta get a
when
drum
you
roll.
stop, here, I'll stop. There we go.
I got you. We're still figuring out who can control what, and now Matt and I are going to fight for power.
I'm buying copies for Skater Friends. Yeah, it's a good. I mean, there is a little mystery that they're building in there, so I'm interested to see where it goes.
All right. So if you win, here, let me take off the banner here or the thing.
Yeah.
If you win, we have 33 people entered.
Not bad.
Let's do it in about 10 seconds. If you win, reach out to us at info@coverprice.com with your cover price, the the best way to do it is with your Cover Price username, so we can actually verify you, or reach out to us directly from your Instagram account to our Instagram account, and we will track you down. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll do sound effects.
Yeah, drum rolls. Drum rolls. And it's Love for Comics.
Love
yeah,
for
buddy.
comics.
There you
And
go.
that's not just because they said good job, guys. So,
We put our thumb on the scale for you.
yeah, he was like, look, love this comic team up. I'm like, yeah.
So, Love for Comics, please reach out to us either at info@coverprice.com, and we'll get that. You can say attention John or Matt, and we'll get this shipped out to you. Or you can find us on Instagram, and we'll do that.
Love for Comics is rigged. I'm like, if you won.
All right, just saying, give it back to everybody.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I am going to say that. So congrats, man.
All right, cool. Yeah, reach out to us. I'm going to get things out on Monday. I have a stack of everyone for the past 3 weeks to get out. So, yeah. Give me your address and I'll be in that batch.
And don't forget, this Sunday, come and pay tribute to TiVo, Sunday at 6 p.m. on Lords of Long Box's channel.
And I'll drop the link in again. So click over, save it. It'll be on their channel. It'll be everyone that will show up and talk about Tim, and everyone will give his, some thoughts and funny stories and sad stories, and it's going to be a wave of emotions.
Yeah.
But it'll be a nice farewell. I wish we did this for everyone. Like we should do like homage, shows for every person that goes. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it is, and he had he created such a following, and so many people knew him. It's a perfect way to kind of send him off.
Yeah,
so
totally.
All right, well, thank you guys for your time. Hope everyone else has a great weekend. Check us out next Friday for another giveaway and also a great comic conversation. Any last words,
guys? Thank you for tuning into the one place that has you covered.
Hey!
Oh, there you go. There you go. You just found it. Yeah, you just found it. You got it. All right.
Perfect.
All right, Jolanda, thanks for joining again. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, guys. Always.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys. Laters.